What is up, Twitch stream? I am Banks, and you are watching the KitBash3d Festival. And today, I could not be more pumped to be joined by my partner Max, right up there, Max Berman, who you all know. And then,
what's up, guys?
And all the way on this side, we have none other than the Ash Thorp. What is up?
Yo. What's up, everybody? Good morning, or evening, or afternoon, or wherever it is, where you are. Cool.
Yeah, whatever pertains to you today.
Yeah.
Well, Ash, I feel, this is your regular spot, and Ash, of course, is a director.
How dare you?
And an art director.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah. I'm reading your script, literally. I got all the notes. But thank you for having us, man, and thank you for jumping on this stream. I know how pumped up the audience is to be here. It has been quite a ride. George Emmanuel says, "What up, Ash Thorp, motherfucker?"
Nice.
We have had, of course, this is the KitBash3d Festival presented by Learn Squared, which Ash is a co-founder of, and we have just had the most fun month here, streaming with all the different artists and getting to interact with the audience here has been just awesome, man.
Hell yeah. Yeah, a lot of good peeps. All our usuals are up in there, I'm sure. And thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. And thanks for putting together this resource. I know it's not easy to do these kind of things. It's like it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. So yeah, thanks to you guys, because what you guys are doing is it allows us to make things quicker, faster, more efficiently, and makes us look better in front of our clients' eyes, is what matters most, I guess. So it's all about the client's acceptance, right? Papa client or mama client, yeah, mama bear client, yeah. Guys, just a disclaimer, everybody out there. You know how I stay up late. I stay up really freaking late, and it's really freaking early, all right? So yeah, I'm in a freaking mood, all right?
How freaking late were you up?
So yeah, I think I was up until, I think I went into bed around like just under 5, and I think I laid there for like 30 minutes just like thinking about stuff. So I went to sleep at like 5:30 or so.
4 hours ago, 4.5 hours ago. What do you find sometimes on, when you're up so late, it's really hard to get your body to wind down and get back in bed?
Yeah, usually like when I'm active thinking about something, or like I'm actively in a moment of making something, it's really hard for me to like just turn my brain down and turn it off, So, and I don't smoke weed or any of that kind of awesome cheater effect, So yeah, I don't get my cheater effect, all right? So no, it's kind of turning that down. It takes a little bit to go down. So I need to figure out a way, maybe just like push-ups and sit-ups or something like that. I don't know, some kind of physical like shift or something. But yeah, until then, I'm kind of screwed.
Well, we all know that water's laced with something.
What? This is actually a whole thing, a tincture. This is CBD oil right
here. The G-Monk special.
Yeah, CBD. Yeah.
just to calm the nerves.
Yeah, just relax myself down. But no, thanks. What's been the results so far at the stream? You guys had some really cool people on, some cool stuff. I saw what Emmanuel made, which is really crazy. That was rad. I was like, wow, that's totally different. And that's one thing I love about doing these kind of things, like, is you have the tools, right? It's like, everybody, when I grew up, you're sitting around the room and you have those, like, that box of crayons, I'm probably dating myself. I don't know if they do crayons anymore. I don't know. But like that box of Crayola crayons, and everybody had them, but everybody came up with different combinations and stuff, so, which is rad, and like, yeah, seeing what Emmanuel did, that's up on the screen now. It's like, it's really cool. It's definitely different. It's a different approach than I had, in my mind, He went off like full fantasy stuff, which is cool. So
I think what's really rad about his too is he's mixed all 4 of the kits together. So he was the first one to take all of the kit pieces and build something wholly his own.
Yeah, that's cool. I dig that. Yeah. I'm just using Tokyo today.
Pressure's on, Ash.
Oh,
it has to be at a manual level or higher.
Mommy, these guys are bullying me. The Kit Bash.
On my own stream.
They've taken over my stream. Mommy.
Speaking of Neo Tokyo, I'm gonna throw up. This one is done by Jan Urschel. This was one of the first out the gate, and what he did, he put this character, the girl with the umbrella, which is such a famous or iconic character from Jan's personal work, and he threw her right in as his focal point of the piece. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, these are nice. Yeah, I think the cool thing with Jan is he's a great photographer first and foremost, so he's able to really kind of capture some really interesting framing, you know? I think that's what really helps when he makes these things. He's able to take those resources and do some really cool frames, and I don't know. It's very photographic, you know? So, yeah. Did you do that live on the stream too?
Yeah, he did. Totally.
when I was
pressure's on. That's it. I'm coming in.
When I was seeing his photographic series that he's been putting out, I thought they were CG renders forever. I was like, damn, dude, this guy's getting really good at 3D. And then finally, like, chatted with him, and he's like, oh yeah, those are all photographs. I was like,
yeah, those are some good CGs. Yeah,
because he gets angles and lighting that is like too perfect. You know, it's like, how the hell did you capture that? That has to be 3D.
I think also because it's so, like, that's such a world that is not familiar to us. We're used to like 7-Elevens and like palm trees and crap like that. You know? He's living in like the root of the next world domination, man. Like he's I think, where's he, in Shanghai or something like that? It's like, dude, they're in
Singapore.
Singapore, yeah. So it's like, yeah, it's totally alien to us.
How important,
Americans, I guess.
How important to both of you guys is travel to influence your work?
It's huge, massive. If you can do it, you should do it. Yeah. It's going to give you so much of a lens. It's going to give you a better lens, basically.
Ash, do you make... Oh, yeah, go ahead, Max.
Oh, no, go for it. Keep going.
Shut up, Max.
No, come on, Max. Come on, Max.
My turn.
I mean, we all know Max gets to see the world. Literally every 3 months, Max is stamping his passport multiple times.
Yeah. Every month this year, every single month. Yeah, it's
passport stamps.
Made it a point.
What, to leave the country every month?
To travel every month somewhere. It doesn't need to be out of the country, but to just travel every month.
That's cool. I mean, our country is huge, man. America is massive, and there's so much to see that is, you know, it's rarely all seen even if you live here, you know. But yeah.
For me, it's so important to experience like what the emotions of being in a location are, and then to try to bring that back into your work. So it's not just looking at the photo references of what a place looks like, but actually experiencing it and what it feels like to be there. I think it's essential.
Hell yeah, essential oils, dude. Essential travel oils. Yes.
One thing we have been doing during the festival is we've also had a sample kit contest. And so anyone who goes onto our website and downloads a sample kit can then build anything they want with it and hashtag KitBash3d contest. And we had a couple cool ones come in today that I just wanted to show here. This one is from Andre. Bang, let me make this a little bit smaller. Andre the Giant, man, coming in hot.
Yeah, I thought he passed away. And he's kicking it with these kit bashes.
I know. Anybody want a peanut?
Yeah. Dude, that's Princess Bride. Did you just quote Princess Bride?
Right in the house.
Oh man, love it. Great.
So this piece came in today. I think it's, well, you guys talk about it. they want to hear from you guys.
Yeah, it looks awesome. The framing's great. You have a nice foreground element. You have great depth. There's great fog, all that kind of good stuff too. It's awesome. I think it's cool. I think the thing with all these that I've noticed, something that I think I'm going to have a hard time with is like adding a narrative twist or a narrative edge or something like, why am I looking at this beyond it just being a photograph, you know, or mimicking a photograph? But I don't know. The way I see it is like I would use these either in my films or I would use them as like a support to my client work so that I can kind of better get myself there faster, you know. So, but yeah, that looks really nice. Fresh.
I wonder a lot with concepting. How important is the narrative the jump off for you always, or do you have a visual in mind first, and then sometimes you build narratives within it?
It varies. It really varies. It depends on like what it is that you're doing in the project and the client and stuff. But and then what they consider to be, you know, a narrative as well, or if you're supposed to be trying to get some sort of narrative out of it. So it really depends, in my opinion, and what I've experienced. It depends per case, basically.
Project to project, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
When you're developing work that you're going to direct or IP of your own, does the visual or the narrative seem to come to you first?
Like I'm working on my next film right now, and it all kind of comes to me instantly, like almost like a memory, like a past memory that just like resurfaces, and then I slowly chisel away at, okay, well, what was that? And a lot of it just comes psychologically. It just rises to the surface, like, you know, I didn't know my birth father. And I'm just joking, like all these things, you know, psychologically. There's all these reasons or whatever. But a lot of times it's just a matter of, you know, navigating and trying to figure out, like, you know, as you go through the experience of discovery, it's just trying to chisel down. But for me, it's always like, what is a narrative? What's the point of these things? You know, like why? Because if you have a reason for them, then you're able to support everything moving forward, and that helps a lot too. So it just helps with your design decisions and everything else too. So, guys, I was up late again. You're gonna get a rambling stream today. You're gonna get one of those Papa Ash rambling streams, you know. So here we go. I'm just letting you guys know.
Sounds like a whole lot of excuses.
Man.
I was up late, okay? That's kind of how I look at it, though. To be honest, it's like I try to find the narrative, or I try to find it as it develops. When it comes to client work, usually you're just like, "Hey, dude, do this thing because we want you to do this," and then based on the work that you've been doing, you have specifics that you have to conquer and hit. You know, so it's just a part of the whole thing, I guess. You know, so it really depends, though. Yeah, it always depends.
Case by day.
Yeah, exactly.
This last one that I want to show came in from Fuck Render. Nice name, my man. Yeah.
Yeesh.
Picked up the sample kit last night, and then turned this thing out by this morning.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what time zone Fuck Render is on, but I'm digging what they've done here.
I like his name. Yeah, I think. I think the name says it all.
And he's doing a daily thing too. This is day 777.
Is it a guy or a girl? It'd be even more thuggish if it was a girl.
You're totally right. Awesome. And I made a way.
You never know. You would assume, right, with such an abrasive name like that, but it could be the most legit lady. So, whoever you are out there, Fuck Render, you are a hero.
Dude, and these renders are looking amazing. Like, incredible.
What's that?
The renders that he's doing, like this image that he posted, looks badass.
It's tripping me out. What's going on there? Is it CBD oil falling from the sky? I can't tell what's happening. Oh, it's really cool. It's trippy. It's tripping me out for sure. It's like a Castlevania. Which kit is that one? Which one is that?
That is for the sample kit contest. So that's
the Gothic
contest. The Gothic one.
Yeah.
Nice. What's your guys' plans? Are you guys gonna do like how many more of these beats are you gonna do? Just like endless amounts, or because I know that you guys mentioned doing like custom kits and having this guest artists come in and do that. I don't know if that's something that, if I'm spoiling it for you guys. Yes, no.
We haven't. We'll dodge that one right now. But well, let's not chat about that just yet.
But I'm just curious, like how many are you thinking, and are you guys gonna be doing like? How are you releasing and all that kind of stuff? Or what are you guys going to keep what you have now, or
we'll have monthly releases of kits every month, and basically, I have like an endless list of kits that I want personally to use. Sure. So I think it's we have more than enough material to keep building kits over and over as long as people keep wanting them.
Sick. There you go, people. Supply and demand. You control it. There you go.
I'm kind of curious, though, to the Twitch stream, what kits do you guys want?
That is a good question.
Fantastic
What
question.
kits do you want?
And Max, do you wanna spill the beans for a recent scheduling?
Max is pregnant.
Congratulations!
We're adding a member to the family. We will be announcing a new kit on my stream next week.
Nice.
Yeah, so stay tuned and see
Any
what that
hints?
is.
Any hints?
It's gonna be sweet.
There you go. That's
Yeah,
hint.
there we go.
That's great. Awesome.
It'll be something new and different.
It's been asked about a lot.
There you go. That's a good hint too.
And we will take all kinds of guesses.
There you go. Yeah, yes. Nice. Awesome. Well, that's
so we
cool.
got Chinese and Japanese architecture kits were the first thing on the stream to pop up, which is cool.
From Bien QP, who's been with us this whole time and also hooked us up with some awesome places to eat when we go up to SF next month. So thank you, Bien.
Nice.
Yeah, huge list. It's going to take us a couple trips up there to knock all those restaurants off the list.
We'll be nonstop eating. Yeah, Ash, you should come. It's gonna be great. Restaurant tour SF.
I'm down. We'll do Anthony Bourdain style.
Oh,
there you go. Yeah, Emmanuel Shu is gonna join us at some point too.
Yeah, Emmanuel's up there, so he's a rad dude. You should try and see if you guys can lace up with George Hall too, because George is up there as well.
We would love
That's
to.
a great
Dude,
idea.
I'm such a fan of his work.
Me too,
Yeah.
man. I mean, Max and I talk about the Nebuchadnezzar as being like our home, or just being like the place where for me, I don't want to speak for Max, but for me
Dirty home.
that's how that idea.
You can never clean it up.
Right? that idea that the Matrix gives is so amazing, and what the ship and the Sentinels represent to me is just such an iconic piece of my life.
Yeah, Matrix for sure. Gotta love that Matrix. Doing those leather splits, flying through buildings. Yes.
Do you guys remember where you were when you saw the Matrix the first time?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was young. I was with my aunt. My aunt took me. The same aunt that showed me Akira and Ghost in the Shell. I saw Matrix with. What the hell, man? Like,
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It is awesome. Like she came in my life. She's like, okay, here it is. Boom, and I'm like, okay, peace out. Yeah, like game-changing stuff. No, definitely. It was. I think I was in. I think it was in Vista, California. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I was like, what the hell just happened? My little brain was like, what? Yeah, that was awesome. Really enjoyed it. How about you guys?
I think I was like 10 years old or something, and we got like a VHS tape that was like a screener of The Matrix, and I remember putting it on, and as soon as it ended, I like went to my parents and was like, how the hell did they do that? I didn't say how the hell because I was 10 years old, but I was like, how did they do this?
You're all, how the
like,
fuck?
Yeah, what the fuck is this? and they were like, that's called
awesome.
CGI. I was like, I'm doing that. That's for sure. That is what I am doing with my life.
That's awesome. There's certain times in your life where like films or a project that just kind of, it makes you think like, okay, this is why I'm here and doing that. What do you think that is for people now? Because, I mean, The Matrix is old now, and I mean, what film is that for you, the younger generation that's in this chat? What is it? Because I mean, I haven't seen something as original as The Matrix since The Matrix. I feel like, there's been some really great films since then, but I'm like, is it The Matrix? I don't know. Is The Matrix still running strong as being that big influencer?
I think probably one of the things I'm starting to realize, and I might be wrong because I'm not the audience for it, but those movies of the 80s that really got everyone, like or 90s, like Jurassic Park, or Back to the Future, and those movies that like grabbed you as a kid, and they were like kind of family adventure movies. I think Marvel's kind of taken over that market, and the Marvel films are now those fun, kid-friendly adventure action movies that kids are eating up.
Like Guardians of the Galaxy or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And those
I can see that.
Those are kind of the 4 quadrant stuff that is reaching the real broad audience, and everyone goes and sees the Avengers literally all across the world. But what about the like what's the like Fight Club? What is the thing that is like mythic for the the feeling of today. You know, I mean, is that Ex Machina, or is that some of Taylor Sheridan's work, or, you know, I mean, those are the things that
Ex
jump
Machina's
in
awesome.
my brain. Yeah.
Ex Machina is one of those things. I mean, I don't know. I feel like Ex Machina is an amazing film. It's amazing. I think it's so well crafted and so thought provoking. It's shot so well too. I often study it all the time, but yeah, I think that's more of like an indie film. You know, are you guys excited for like Blade Runner? Blade Runner's
So
coming out
stoked
on
for
Friday.
it.
Yeah, it better be damn good, Danny.
And
Villeneuve.
also, I think Dennis Villeneuve is kind of taking that spot. Talk about, you know, that influential mind kind of twisting movie. You know, Arrival kind of for me is as close as you get to Fight Club in modern day films.
Yeah. Ted Chiang, like, he wrote those short stories, and the original catalyst for the actual Arrival film. His stories are really cool. I think he writes like intellectual sci-fi, which is really cool too. So, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, as much as I loved Arrival, it's still like it does a lot of things for me, but it's not like a Fight Club or Jurassic Park or Matrix. Maybe that's nostalgia talking, you know. I'm not saying that I didn't like it, because I loved it, and I watched it I think 3 times in the theater. That's how much I enjoyed it. I never do that too. Like, I'm really hoping Blade Runner is one of those, like, just keep throwing money at tickets to go and see it again and again. So I think I saw Rogue One, I think it was twice too, because visually I was just like blown away by the look of it. I was like, this is so beautiful, such a beautiful experience, and it's almost like admiring art on a wall, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was stunned by that.
Tons of art. Yeah, it was really beautiful. I'm curious and excited to see kind of like if there's Star Wars that are coming out every like
year.
What, every 2 weeks we have a new Star Wars movie from Disney. I'm curious to see how they're gonna keep it up, you know. So no, every year. I mean, that's just crazy. They're just pumping these babies out there. Papa Disney just like goosh, goosh, buy, consume. I wonder how much of the landfills in the world are consumed with like Disney byproducts and stuff. Yeah.
how much trash are they contributing? How funny is
shit tons? Yeah, shit tons. That's the scientific fact.
Shit tons.
Guys, I think just because I don't want to run out of time, and I want to see Ash play with this stuff. I feel like we should keep this conversation going while trying to distract Ash as we get to watch him do some cool stuff with these kids.
I think that's a great point. So I'll stop sharing my screen, Ash, and then you jump in there.
You want me to share?
Yeah, we good to go for that?
Yeah, so sharing, let me hide the porn. Wait, what? Okay. Let me know when you guys can see. So,
bingo, we're in.
Banks, I'm going to let you run it from your side then, and then I'll just
cool. Great, man.
thing.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Right.
You can do your thing.
Cool. Yeah, okay, cool. So let me kind of walk you guys through. So last night, quickly, I just put this together. So I basically took the KitBash Tokyo kit. Actually, I started with OBJ like an idiot, and then I realized, I'll use the FBX because everything is networked and connected. So if you're watching, let me just kind of walk you through a very quick process in which I work with these things. So what you're seeing right here is I'm on my Mac. So here we go. Like I'm on my let's see, hold on. So this is probably tripping people out, but I'm on my Mac, so I have all my stuff, but I'm using an app called TeamViewer to get into my PCs, and I have both of them running right now. Yeah, so what you're seeing, that's why I'm not able to go full screen with it, because it only allows me to go to a screen resolution of 2560 by 1600. Get with it, TeamViewer. Let me have that full screen power. I need it. So if you're from TeamViewer and you're in the chat, get to busy.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's probably not happening. But yeah, so I'm looking at through here because I don't like going around and hard unplugging everything. So anyways, so yeah, here I am. I got the FBX open. Here's the kit. It's all clean and pretty. It's got everything. It's all networked. Everything is ready to go. All the tags are sexy, and they start my day with a smile. So here we go. So yeah, here's all the buildings. I'm not sure if you guys have done demos of like all the kits and stuff. I'm sure you guys have covered a lot of that, but I basically kind of went through here and I kind of went, oh, like this one, just like I would as a kid playing with Legos. But I want that Lego and this Lego and so on, so on and so forth. And then what I did is I just brought it into a new file very messily, which is here. And I kind of moved things around until I was able to start taking photographs of it. And in my opinion, what I was going to try to do today is I was going to, I got some renders here, but what I was going to do is one of my buddies, Toros, he's an amazing photographer, and he sent me a link to his site. And let me just post this for you guys. I was gonna use this as an example of like, okay, let's see how fast and close I can get to somewhat of a reality. So his photos are really great. So I was like, okay, let me use some of the muse and inspiration I can get from his photographs and see how close and we can get really quickly. Looking at like the depth, the atmospheric perspective, composition, the textures, the difference in scale, all that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do is take like a really basic render, and I'm going to bring it into Lightroom, start tweaking and adjusting it, and maybe some Photoshop really quickly to see how fast I can get some kind of interesting results. So you guys should check out his site. It's got amazing photography. He travels around the world, and he's just got a really exceptional eye. They're just awesome. So I think these are the ones I was looking at. So let me go and grab my references too, because I think my references.
Hey, real quick, thanks. Can you minimize the video cameras so that we can see Ash's screen full screen, or at least move it to the left side so we can see his Octane renders?
Great point. Momo Goods, who is from Team L2, just said that too, and I don't know exactly how to do that. So, do y'all? How do I get how do I get my face out of here? Is what I'm trying to do.
Don't leave your face. Don't leave your face.
Well, at the very least, you can click and drag that over to the left side of the screen so that we can, because his Octane render is going to be on the bottom right.
Oh, yeah. That's okay. I'll move my Octane render stuff off to the left. So.
This is it. I think, wait, did I just turn...
You turned your camera off.
Yeah, which is not helping.
3 men and a baby.
Just click and drag that over to the left side of the screen.
Hey Momo, what's up, my Momo bro?
Yeah, Max, I'm trying, but it's not working.
Click and drag the windows of our faces over to the left.
Yeah, if you can see me, I'm on it, but I'm not dragging.
Damn it.
Yeah.
This is like mama and dad are fighting. Don't fight.
Well, it's funny because like we know like all these like hardcore software, Maya, ZBrush, Keyshot, C40, all that shit, and yet Skype. No one I know can figure Skype out.
You know what? No. It's free software.
It's the worst interface ever.
Free software is sweet because it's free, but
yeah, it'll get you. Okay, what I'll do is I'll just go to full screen and then I'll go back and forth so you guys can kind of see. So we're gonna see our faces. Sorry guys, you're gonna see a little mix of the other things. But anyway, so what I did quickly is this is kind of how I approach these things, and my workflow is constantly changing because I'm evolving the way that I approach these things. So it's constantly going to change and shift as things progress. But so right now I'm in Cinema 4D, as I mentioned earlier, and when I go to like look at a render in full view, I'm using all 6 cards right now too, so it's kind of just chugging along. You're asking questions about that too. I have 3 Titan X's and 3 1080s, and I'm just hitting Control Tab on whatever window that I want to see larger. And so I'm looking at this one. I'm going, okay, that looks pretty cool. The problem I'm having now is there's something with the VDB volumes, which is really freaking annoying. So let me turn this off, and maybe just go like turn these off. What I'm doing is I'm generating VDB volumes to create pockets of fog so that I can have that nice atmospheric perspective. But what the VDBs are doing is like creating like these like outlines. So let me just do a general haze with this main one. So if you're not familiar with like Octane's volume and VDB volume, you should check it out. It's really cool. And I think without using it, your work feels a bit flat. So if you can bring this into your work, you're going to have like a whole dimension to it. And it's going to take like, like the KitBash kits are awesome. And I think they're going to work really well from about this far. But when you add the atmosphere to it, you really start to introduce like a depth that the eye can perceive as being real better. So like, let's say up here in this example, the way that the sun is hitting, because is kind of like cascading down, and we're having this atmospheric kind of fall off, which in the way my eye is looking at it, it's perceiving that as being a plausible reality because of the variety that it has, and then the depth and stuff. So yeah, so let me just sit here and render this out. Again, I'm using Octane. I forget what version, but who cares? It's like some kind of version 3.1.5.25.17 or some toy thing. I don't know. And I'm using all my GPUs. I got my 2 machines going. I'm at path tracing, just over 2,000 samples. This frame is going to take about 3 minutes to get. So when you're using atmospherics and volumetrics, it's going to really tax your system, because it's basically bouncing light off of all these particles, and then it's catching, and it's also like dispersing the information behind it. So it's acting like literal fog. And if you can imagine, particles of, like, what fog is particles of atmosphere or water, basically water vapor that's kind of floating in the air, and light is basically hitting each one of those things and bouncing off and going like, hey, where do I go, and so it's basically just taking forever to process that. So it's one of my biggest pet peeves, because I freaking love fog, but it just takes forever to render. But I'm going to show you the difference between with fog and without fog, and how this works, and all that kind of stuff too. I'm using a 2:3:5 aspect ratio. It's one of my favorites. I grew up watching Star Wars and all that stuff too. So 2:3:5 aspect ratio is usually what I like to kick all my stuff out at. For those of you that don't know what that means, 2:3:5 is 2.35. This top length goes into the side length 2.35 times. That's how you get the ratio. So if you were to have like a 1-to-1 ratio, it's like a cube basically. And then you have like 16:9. That's another ratio. That's like 1920 by 1080 is usually the pixel size that you use for that. So yeah, we're doing math here, people. We're doing math. But yeah, I wanted you guys to see quickly that, like, I literally, I knew that I was doing this stream last night, and I was like, oh crap, I better get ready for it, because I didn't want to look like a dunce, here like, and trying to figure out stuff on the fly. So I kind of put this together really quickly, but honestly, it's very minimal setup time. And I'm going to show you kind of my setup with the file, and the reason why I wanted to show you this is like taking this asset from KitBash, which is awesome, and then evolving it to get the look that you want. And I'm going to save this out really quickly to my KitBash kit thingamabob.
Also, let me jump in really quick. I think this is a good chance to throw this out there for the people in the stream who want to try this out on their own. Courtesy of Ash, we're doing a discount code, and that'll run for I guess it'll run till the end of the stream, and we'll leave it up there for another 20 minutes since we announced it pretty late in the game. But if you go to KitBash and in checkout, if you enter in the discount code ASH20, you get 20% off your whole order.
Because I'm 20 years old.
Ash.
Because I'm 20 years old.
Yeah, in commemoration of his 20th birthday.
Me and David Tilton.
Because Ash is working at 20% consciousness right now.
Hey, I thought I was doing pretty good.
Yeah, man,
and he still can do this. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
You can't see it off camera, but he's actually working on 2 other projects right now.
Yeah. Render, just replying to emails and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Max,
okay.
Max, to double check, it's Ash, all caps, right? ASH.
All caps.
Yep, cool.
I just entered it in the chat.
And Kalina's
awesome.
on it too. Right on, Kalina. Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Kalina.
there you go.
Hope
Ash
you're feeling
20.
better.
Ash 20. There you go. 20 years old. So there you go.
Bang.
Yeah. Okay, so let me break down the file for you guys a little bit. So I have my kit. I've just kind of placed it here. And another thing that's really cool with these kind of kits is before I started using 3D, it was, mainly like photo bashing and stuff. But with 3D, you just have the power to do whatever you want, really. And there's a lot of fun that you can play with that. So if I want to say like move this building to the right a little bit, I'm going to click my middle mouse button. What that does is allows me to see all 4 views. it's chugging right now because the GPUs are like, oh, there's a lot of particles in here because of the. So if you guys notice a chug, it's just because of that. And what I'll do is I'll go, okay, I want to maybe move this over here a little bit compositionally, make this a little tighter. And it's really endless. As you guys know, it's just like never ending. But maybe I want to move this up a little bit, create a different composition right here with this negative space. And I'm just going to kind of play with it. And it's falling off into the background here. So the mood and tone that I'm trying to capture is right now with this photograph, what I'm going to call it a photograph, is like early morning or it's probably going to feel right now the light's more like early morning. And what I have is I have 3 octane skies, and then I have an HDRI attached to it, and there are different types of HDRIs that I have. So this one's kind of mimicking a certain type of light, and all I'm doing is I'm moving it around so I can get the best situation. Sometimes it looks great, sometimes it looks horrible, and it's just a matter of getting it to that perfect spot where it's just pushing the light perfectly, and I'm getting exactly what I need so that everything kind of blends together nicely. So. So then when I get to a spot that I really like, or somewhere that I think is actually looking good, I'll just hit Control Tab, and then I'll bring in the full screen here, and then I'll just let it go through process, do the render, and then I'll take all this stuff, and as I'll show you later on, I'm going to bring it into Lightroom, and then I could potentially take those renders from Lightroom into Photoshop, add some stuff to them, and then finish them out. So. It's a lot of fun though, like taking these things and playing with the volume and basically taking photographs and stuff, So, and it really depends on what you're after, If you're after like trying to achieve reality, then you should definitely try to get into understanding volumetrics and all that kind of stuff. And then also just studying photographs, That's why I brought up my friend Taros's work. It's like these photographs are stunning, and so. And I think like with a photograph like this, for example, I think we could probably get pretty close to this. I mean, obviously nothing's going to be better than reality because reality is the best, but we can get pretty close and we could do it pretty quickly, So with this kit, if I had to model this, I mean, obviously you guys know that would suck. So nobody wants to model nothing, all right?
Do you
also, I don't want to wipe my butt anymore too. So like, let's solve that problem. So. butt wipe kit for everybody.
Do you render passes?
I don't. I just kind of. I mean, I have in the past. I just kind of blast through it, and I take what I get, and I just go through it. But there's definitely a way to do that. There's render passes and all that kind of stuff. I don't do that though, because it's like, not for this. But you could though, right? I could render like an alpha matte. I could get like an AO matte. I can get beauty pass, an ID where I can ID every one of these pieces and then key them out. The reason why I don't like to do that necessarily is it's more of a mentality thing. I'm trying to force myself to get as good as possible out of the render without having to do a ton of Photoshop. My shift to 3D it's all been like do as much as you can in the 3D program and then let Photoshop kind of be this is where you add like the last 5%, the little like thing, little space, little pixie dust or whatever you call it, little Photoshop.
Basil and garnish.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not to say that you can't. And so let's say like what Emmanuel did is where you combine all these things and then you photo bash them together. I imagine that's what he did, right?
He got pretty far in the render actually.
So that's rendered? Okay, well I could be wrong then. Yeah.
He was just using that kit in like a very abstract way of slamming these pieces together and putting pieces like buildings on their sides and doing all this crazy shit in 3D with it. Sure. And then I think he rendered it and then touched up the atmosphere with mattes and stuff like that in Photoshop.
Nice. Okay, cool. Well, that's cool. Let me see. So what I have here is I just like a bunch of the photographs I caught, and I'm going to kind of go through these and find the one that I feel is the most appealing to me.
These are gorgeous.
Thanks, man. So these are just quick ones though, right? Like I want you guys to know that like this isn't like I wasn't like, oh man, this is going to take me forever and I'm going to, like I wanted to see how fast I could get the best thing out, So So what I'm going to do is, oftentimes what I do is I don't go, you can do these two ways. And I was just showing Kaizel, I don't know if Kaizel's here in the chat, but I was showing him this stuff the other day, which is really cool. But I didn't show him the Lightroom thing, but what I do with my renders is I don't just leave them as renders. Oftentimes renders are just like a raw photo. And the way I work, and one other thing I was going to say is, if you're using Octane and you're using a camera, please, like, for the love of baby Jesus or whatever the love is, on your camera tag, if you are trying to achieve reality, please set the response to linear. If you don't, you're going to have all these like default LUTs on here. And one of the things, its default LUT is like, I don't even know what this is. It's like some kind of weird, I don't know. It's all weird because it's basically putting, I hate that. I use this linear because linear is going to treat it just like it would if it was as natural to the human eye, from what I experience. And then set your gamma to 2.2, which is generally, isn't that the straight up like default, right? Max, 2.2?
Honestly, I have no clue.
How dare you? How dare you, sir? I was leaning on you for that advice. But yeah, anyways, and then you can adjust your exposure and go to town on it. But if you're trying to achieve reality, you need to do these with your cameras, because this is gonna set you up in the right position. So set it to linear and your gamma to 2.2, and then just adjust your exposure as you go. You can dial down your exposure or dial it up, but that's okay. We're gonna do some exposure stuff in Lightroom to really turn it up and play with that. And then I'm going to bring it into Photoshop, where I'm going to add some like lights so it doesn't feel like a completely dead city. And that's, I don't know, is there luminosity in these two? Or it's pretty easy to add to later on. So, all right. So
Ash, you've got a question in here from Ocean
Screw
Studio.
that. No, what's that, Ocean Studio?
For volumetrics, can Ash call out his settings for scatter and absorption? Octane
Yes.
fog is so tricky.
Yes, it's insanely tricky, and I've spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours working on it. Should I show you guys? Maybe I'll hint. I'll show you guys a frame for my next film. But it's when I go into my volume, so here's my volume tab right here. Somebody's got a mechanical keyboard. There's firing that baby out.
Yeah.
Get it, Banks? It's like Andrew. Andrew has one of those things.
Man, I can't.
I was
type
gonna
that
get one,
fast.
but
That's
it's
on
like yeah. Okay, so when I have my volume, and I'm not talking about my VDB volumes because I have those as well, but my main volume from the medium, it depends on the scale and the size of the setting. So I usually tweak it and mess with it until I get it right. Right now, I'm trying to make my density somewhat dense, but still somewhat transparent, and there's a low light situation. So I'm just kind of dialing it down ever so slightly until I get it there. But honestly, you could use this setting on your scene and it could look horrible depending on your how close you are to it, where you are, and the lighting situation. So a lot of things depend on, those different kind of equations basically working together. So that's the way I basically work on it, is I will adjust the density and the step length, and if I need to, I'll adjust the scattering and absorption color. So I'll set this maybe to like scatter will be more in like the light, and then I'll go back here, and just so I get that more light, hazy kind of feel to it. But I can adjust all this stuff in the later parts, like the post to the grading, I guess you could call it. But yeah, let's see. So that's kind of a brief breakdown. What I like to do is I like to start by going to generate, and then I hit a random cloud until I get to about this kind of noise effect that I like. If you want to really tweak the noise effect, you just go in here, and then what I'll do is I'll just go and adjust the low clip, which kind of makes it more sparse. As you can see, like there's that more contrast, but it feels kind of like a cloud. So you can see these kind of patches that are happening. If I want to make it even harsher, I'll do that. And then that's where I'm getting these really dispersed pockets. And then if I know I'm getting those dispersed pockets, what I'll do is I'll go back to the medium, and it's like a song, it's like a dance, you're like, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And you're like, it's like making a soup, it's like, I'll put a little bit of salt here, a little cayenne pepper there, some garlic, yeah. And then I'm like, this is great soup. Okay. So, but yeah, it really changes, and it's affected by as you go, and I think I couldn't tell you like what's the best one, honestly, because they're all so different. And again, so like my prime example is like, it kind of looked kind of good from far away, but then when I go to this shot, it really kind of falls apart, so get this ground out of here.
Ocean Studio says, that's some tasty soup. Thanks, dude. And then
You're welcome. What's your
Sari,
favorite soup, Ocean?
yeah, there you go. What do you like? And Sari Chev says, can you render the fog separately so you could later adjust in PS?
I don't know. Maybe. I've never done that. Again, I think my goal is I try not to rely heavy on Photoshop. I think relying heavy on Photoshop is what I used to do. And what I'm trying to do now is just be like, no. Let me just get this right in 3D as best as possible to save me all the headache of like, oh, let me clip this out and do this one thing. It's like, I hate doing that. I honestly those days are done. I hated that. So I'm trying to figure out a way of like just working as smart as possible to achieve the best reality that I can as fast as possible. So yeah, right now I'm just kind of going through, I'm just adjusting the medium and I'm adjusting where the camera is coming. This is really weird for me, honestly, guys, because I am not a 3D guy. I just slowly acquiring all this information and I actually don't care to acquire it all. It's just like, it's a means to the end, you know? I'm just like figuring things out as I go. I learned quite a bit from the Intagma guys, the Houdini dudes that put together those VDB files and stuff. And a shout out to my buddy Travis Davids, who I got these VDB volumes from. Not this main one, I just generated it, but that guy is awesome, and he did a really cool tutorial on YouTube if you're interested. And he gives out like a list of 10 simulations that he made in Houdini, which are really cool. So you can basically use those clouds and kind of take them however you want. So right now I'm just moving my my HDRI around. I'm just sliding it around the scene, trying to see how it looks, trying to get that lighting. Let's
we
say
got
like
a couple of questions for you, by the way, before we keep going on this, just so we don't lose them. 32 Bravo asks, what's the minimum amount of video cards you need to have decent renders and it doesn't take forever?
400.
400 video cards?
No, I think, honestly, you need at least one powerful one, and then some patience. If you only have little, then you need patience, and it sucks, right? I mean, these things are really quite expensive, and it's a big, and they're always like, the one thing I hate is they cost so much, and they're like, oh, there's a new one next week. You're like, what the hell? I just spent $800 on this thing, So, but I think that you can get away. Like I started off with 3. I think 3 is a great amount. But I have 6 now just because I'm crazy and I need more. So I have that addiction, that GPU addiction. So yeah.
And I think it's important, for me when I was starting out and I first started to get freelance jobs. The first thing I'd reinvest in was my equipment. Right?
Yeah, it's smart. Yeah.
And I think that's, as you work longer and longer professionally and you realize that these are the tools you need to do better work, and the more you invest in your equipment, the more projects you can take on and the quicker you can deliver them.
Downward spiral.
Exactly. And
you wake up naked in the tunnel.
Yeah, like you don't start out with buying 6 graphics cards. You start out by like, okay, you get a couple freelance jobs, you put some money aside, and instead of going out and buying, whatever toys, like first put that money into getting yourself like a decent box that's customizable so that as you go on, you can add things to it, get a good GPU or a good CPU and then start adding those GPUs to it.
Yes, I agree. I think it's a scale thing, right? It's like I did the same thing. I just kind of moved things around until I could get the opportunity to do so. Because I got to answer to my boss, who's my wife, and I go, "Hey, can I have these GPUs?" She's like, "What's a GPU?" And I'm sorry, I'll go back in my cave. We'll click the mouse some more. So no, it's difficult, and these are expensive items. But if you're really considering taking yourself seriously and you want to be one of the best, then you have to invest in good equipment to get yourself to that space. And trust me, it took me years to get here, like years. I was so dreading and avoiding 3D for a very long time, and now I'm like in the middle of it and I still hate it, but I love it so much. It's like this amazing love-hate relationship, So but yeah, it's once I agreed to just go full on into it, it was aside from the every once in a while the occasional like, I hate this, it's mostly pretty good. So yeah, so I definitely suggest getting the right gear and the right amount as much as you can, because it's going to save you in the long run. So
yeah, and honestly, that's that's what we're trying to do with KitBash too, is give these tools to speed up your process and stuff like that. But we're also doing it at a very like high professional level of models, you know, and I know that like it's not an entrance point for a lot of people yet, but we want to keep that, like, you know, make it just like getting a new a new GPU. We want to like provide these like crazy premium models that when you're working professionally, you can start to build up your library and be able to keep the quality of these things so that you can use them on huge projects and they'll hold up.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, because you're going to definitely want that. You're going to need that. So, and you'll see as you work through in the industry, you're just going to be pressured, and there's going to be a lot of different things that you're going to have to figure out and sort through and stuff. So you'll figure it out, peeps. You get there. Yeah.
Yeah. On that, when you do 3D projects, how much of the time are you generating your own assets, and how much of the time are you finding other assets online?
To be honest, like there's one project I'm doing. I'm modeling almost everything, but then that's because it's a passion project, and I'm doing it to learn how to model. But when it comes to like client work, when I'm just having a jam, and like literally on client work, it's like, hey, you have a week to do like 10 years of work, so here you go. And I'm like, well, okay, cool. I use resources like I'll use KitBash3d, I'll use TurboSquid. I mean, all these different resources out there. And so I would say the ratio on professional work is oftentimes, if I'm not hiring somebody to build an asset, man, it's pretty high. You know, like I'm using existing materials because it cuts down on my stress level. It makes me just be able to get to the point faster. And that's oftentimes what matters most. You know, it's like I'm trying to get to a certain place faster so that I can get the approvals or the trust or whatever it might be that I'm after with my director, so I can move forward and, you know, progress, I guess, you know, through the situation of making something. So the ratio is high though. Yeah, it's definitely high. But I'm learning how to model too. So I'm just kind of putting myself through the paces too. So it's like, I think it's really great because like even with this kit right here, what I could do is like, oh, if I wanted to add more detail, I could just quickly model on it. So this gets me like already really far, which is awesome, you know. And like sometimes that's the saving grace. It's just like, oh, okay, cool. I just want to be able to get to that certain level, and then I can go in and kind of really refine it and change it and adjust it. So so let's go back into Lightroom. I just moved this render around. I'm going to let this run while we're doing Lightroom stuff. So I'm in Lightroom. Lightroom's awesome. If you have Adobe CC, it all kind of comes together with the process. So I'm going to go here. I got my Lightroom guys set up. I got all my little renders going. I'm going to import them in. I went out taking photos last night, or up in the hills. It was so cool. So, and that's one thing I would suggest and really advise everybody to do is like go out and take as many photos as you can and really look at reality and look at the world and take attention to it, because if you're trying to achieve reality by looking at other CGI, you're going to be screwed. So do not do that. If you're trying to achieve reality, you need to go and take photographs. You need to go and sit. You need to go travel, like Max is saying, as much as you can. If you don't have the money, funds, and ability to travel, I swear, wherever you live, there's something that's interesting where you live that's within like a bus ride away. I know for sure it's got to be, because I was just up in the hills the other day and I was like, there's nobody up here. I'm above the clouds. Like, this is insane. Like, here, I'll show you guys a photo.
We got Kazil in the stream on the Twitch chat.
Bam.
What's up, Kaizel? What's up, my babies?
What's up, dude?
What's up,
What
my
up,
car
Kaizel?
baby mama? Yeah.
Perfect time to bring up a car.
Yeah, exactly. Boom. There we go. I sent this out to him. So my house
looks
is down
like
over
shitty
here,
CG, honestly.
How dare you? This is nature. But you know, I went up and I was just taking photographs, and I think the key with this is like you're able to see things and like perceive reality, and then so when I'm making like VDBs and stuff, I'm thinking about like weather systems and the disbursement of light and how the light fades off and all that stuff. So when I'm doing this thing, it infers my eyes, so my eyes able to be even more refined to help achieve that reality. So anyways, I'm in Lightroom, so I just took the library. This render is kicking off right now. And again, my goal with this is just to kind of play with a simple shot and kind of treat this like it's a photograph. And I'm going to try and see how far I can get here. And then we're going to go into Photoshop, and I'm going to add some lights and little details here and there if time allows. So
here, I'm going to jump in here real quick and just remind people in case anyone missed it. We're going to keep this open for the next 30 minutes, but courtesy of Ash, we're doing a discount code for KitBash3d. So if you go to KitBash3d.com and enter in the discount code at checkout, Ash, all caps, Ash20, you'll get 20% off your whole order, and that's courtesy of Ash.
That's right. It's all because of me, okay? KitBash exists because of me. No, that's awesome, guys. That's really cool. It's a nice thing. Okay, so what I have here is one of my photographs. I like to call them my photographs from the render that I kicked off really quickly. And what I have here inside of Lightroom, now I'm in the development phase of it, which is really great. I love this program. It's kind of like where I take all my photographs in and I go through them. And what I have is I have a bunch of just different defaults basically from jobs or projects that I'm working on. And I usually kind of click through these defaults until I can find something that I really like that makes sense. I'm just kind of playing with it until I can see something that makes sense. So going through here, and I'm going to probably, it's a little too moody. I'm going to look back at my photo references here from my buddy Toros. So I'm going to look back at like maybe I want to stay in this space. Oh, this is like stunning. The moment I can achieve this kind of reality inside of a CGI, and I'm be stoked. I think there's a way, but I think a lot of this is a nice combination between 3D and 2D, and I'll show you why. I'll show you why in just 3 simple steps. Let's see. I'm not going to. I'm not going to show you guys why. I'm just joking. All right. Making jokes. All right. So
keeping secrets.
Yeah, keeping secrets. No, there's no secrets. I don't give a shit. Okay, so noise reduction. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit my default, which is like I have a bunch of defaults from my car build that all the photos I'm taking. So I'm going to start off with this. I'm going to just hit this default so I have like a decent starting point. And I'm going to go from top to bottom in my my adjustments and just kind of tweak things until I get it to where I want it to be. And so I'm like, okay, do I want it to be cooler or warmer? And I'm going to go probably with more warm because I feel like it makes it feel more realistic. And then I'm going to go like shift it over a little bit, less orange, more the tint. I'm going to turn into like maybe the green, push it in there, and exposure. Maybe I'll kick it down a couple clicks and see how that looks. And the cool thing with this is like you can quickly kind of see what works and what doesn't, which I love. So, and you can kind of adjust a photograph and see it pretty instantly. And I treat it just like a photograph, And this kind of form of like this workflow, it only evolved for me kind of playing with my photographs. And then I was like, okay, well, if I really enjoy messing with my photographs here, then I'll probably really enjoy playing with them inside of Lightroom too. So then I took my renders and I started really playing with them to kind of get that awesomeness. And these are quick renders with like 2,000 samples, which is really nothing. So they're still quite noisy. Let me save this one out too. Okay, but my goal with this was to show you like how you can achieve like somewhat of a photograph pretty quickly by using this resource and stuff. So see here, tweak this a little bit. Somebody's eating cereal. It's awesome. Some vibrance. Maybe tone this down a little bit. Bam. What's your favorite cereal, guys?
What is your favorite cereal?
Yeah.
Frosted Flakes.
Frosted Flakes?
I do a blend. I do a blend.
Oh, damn.
Try to just put something with not a lot of sugar, and then like some sugar on the top.
Sorry, you cut out. I missed it.
Yeah, you broke up.
Yeah. I got a little skip there too.
We'll never know.
Yeah,
we'll never know.
No one cares what cereal I want.
Yeah. It'll be the forever wonder of the internet.
What
Are
cereal
you a
do you
breakfast
eat?
man,
Thanks.
Ash?
I'm a food guy. I just like food. So in general, so I'm all about eating food. So, yeah, I like breakfast. Yeah. Sometimes I make it for dinner too.
B for D.
Yeah, B for D. Yeah, I like cinnamon checks or those like O's cereal, like OHS, Quaker O's, I guess. Those are really good. Yeah, I like those. Yeah, I like them. I like all kinds of different cereals, but those are my main ones.
I love Chex. Chex are really good. But I haven't had cereal in years. I'm not a cereal guy.
What?
Kaisel says he missed the sugary tops.
What does that even mean?
Come on,
Kaisel.
Kaisel. Tell us
What
about
does
the
that
sugary
even
tops.
mean? Yeah, tell us about your sugary tops.
JD's bringing Fruit Loops and Rice Krispies to the house. There we go.
Let's see, KitBash. So what I'm doing right now is I'm basically saving a preset. So I'm going to preset, hit that plus sign, and I'll go like KitBash. And what it gives me is it gives me a universal staging kind of set up, so I can start off with there. So I'll go KitBash. I click on this, it kind of takes me there, and I'm like, okay, cool. All my stuff is really quite noisy because of samples, and I just was kicking out fast renders. But I'll go here and I'll just kind of be able to adjust on the fly, just kind of tone things down, move things around, adjust the tone, add some noise, remove some noise, all that fun stuff. And I'm just going through here, and I'm not right now, because it's mostly like a test, I'm not trying to anticipate making like a masterpiece. I'm just trying to see what I can achieve with the time that I have, which is actually a testament to this, because yeah, normally this would take, I think when I first started doing this kind of stuff, this would take just forever. It would take a day to get here, you know, so, which is awesome. We have these resources that allow us to move faster through the process, and it's less painful too. Instead of like having a photograph or photo bashing things, I have all my lights local. I have all my stuff that's right there, and it all kind of blends together nicely. So,
are you using Lightroom because you like the presets of the LUTs or the narrow tool set? Like, why not do what you're doing right now in Photoshop?
There is a way to do it in Photoshop, and I'll show you guys in a minute. But the reason why I like to do like this is like it's the narrow focus, right? I take it here because I don't want to go like, oh, now I have my layers and this, I'm gonna noodle. I don't want to do that. Like, I want to remove myself from having that ability almost, because then it makes me think really smart in 3D. So it's almost like I'm using it as a hindrance to myself to make myself better, if that makes any kind of sense, you know?
Totally.
Yeah, because I'm trying to get better at my CGI, so that I'm removing Photoshop and all those like cheap tricks that I used to do, like, oh, move a little thing here, and you know, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to try not to, at least. I want to try and capture, like, even when I take photographs, right? Like, I try to do minimal. If I try to do no post at all outside of grading, that's my goal. And if I can do that, then I usually achieve a really cool like result. Let me see the KitBash.
Well,
place it.
The Kaiser chimes in. Oh, the magic! It's magical, guys. Next level grading.
Yeah.
Oh, and now he's saying you're lying. You're lying.
Yeah. No, I mean, Kaisel knows. He's like all about the you know, the post work, like taking things and noodling them to death. You know, like, that's cool. Like, I get that, and there's a lot of fun to be had in there. But like, what I've been finding is before I was doing 3D and stuff, I was really releasing work to clients and stuff, and it would be like, oh, I'm gonna be doing like, you know, 2 pieces today. But now with like 3D and stuff, I'm like, here's 100 pieces. There you go. Have fun with that, you know. And that's not necessarily like to say that every client needs that or wants that. Sometimes they don't. They just want one magical file, and that's it, and that's fine too. And I could do that. But for those that are kind of wandering and exploring, I'm able to like achieve so much more from that, you know. So. It's just something to keep in mind as you go through the process. So
one of the things I like just to like bring it to these kits, one of the things I like when I'm playing with these kits is there's so many like hidden details in there that by playing with them and in 3D and just placing cameras all over the place, you kind of leave a lot of room for like serendipity and finding little moments that you didn't expect. And that for me is like my favorite part of playing in this way.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's basically my approach with this the whole time. I'm just like playing with looks like a cool photo, the same way that I would do if I was walking around the city taking a photograph. Basically, I'm treating the same kind of process, you know. Now I'm just kind of adjusting things. I guess kind of, you know, taking the photograph. I'll call it a photograph because it's what it feels like to me, and I'm just kind of adjusting it until I'm capturing that mood and tone that I want. And I'm going for a very like ominous, moody kind of piece, you know. So And I can quickly turn this into some kind of sci-fi thing by like adding in some atmospheric lights and stuff, you know. But that's all in
It reminds
Photoshop.
me of your short form film None.
Yeah, yeah, and I kind of wish that I had this, or was this, guys, when I was working on that. So yeah.
We saw your characters done by Alex Fagini in that.
Yeah, it's my boy Alex. Yeah, Alex is awesome.
We had a great stream with him last week too.
Nice. I'd love to see what he ended up making.
Yeah, he made a dope image. He also used Neo Tokyo, and he put one of his mechs and one of his characters, and kind of created the set dressing behind them to turn his character concepts into like a moment or a scene with them.
Nice. That's great. And there you go, different use of it.
And full disclosure, a lot of the artists have used have done some touch-ups and things outside of their streams on the end to just polish some things before they posted. So
cheaters! I'm not doing that.
Don't feel any pressure. Well, yeah, you've got a whole series here. I do. We are so close to time with you, Ash, and I know how many different projects you're on, and I want to make sure that that we get to a little snapshot of your upcoming film. George Emanuel reminded us on the stream. Don't forget to show that. So before we end here today, please give us a little sneak peek at what you're working on.
All right, you freaks. Yeah, okay, definitely. I appreciate it. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, let me just adjust this. Let me push this a little bit. Okay. But yeah, I mean, what I wanted to show you guys is like a quick workflow. I literally made these like with the quickness. Like I put this stuff together, not without care and thought. I put the kit together really quickly, and I just take photographs of it that I would then kick out and then do some photoshopping stuff too. And I wanted to show you kind of just how fast it is to get some really cool results, you know. And so I'll take all these things and eventually export them into Photoshop and mess with them. But yeah, if you guys want to see, so my next film is called Edifice. It's really cool. It's a very special film. I've been sinking just gobs and gobs of mental power and thought into it, and yeah, I'm super excited about it. It's going to be mostly live action, but the CGI in there that's being made is I'm trying to do it completely by myself. I'm throwing myself into like deeper waters every project just to try and see how far I can go. And so I actually didn't use KitBash for this one, so it's not a great example for this stream, but because I was building it out, but I could have used this stuff for it. So I did it primarily because I'm trying to teach myself how to model. But so here's one of the frames from it.
Oh, sick.
Of the shots.
That was badass. Hell yeah.
Yeah, so it's
can I take a screen grab of that, Ash?
No, you cannot. No, you can. I guess that's fine. I mean, well, let me just give you this one then, because it's got the logo on there too. So, but yeah, this is my next film. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm thinking I'm gonna try and have it released at the beginning of the year. So, but I think with these personal projects, I get often asked like about the personal project stuff. I do them because A, I want to get better. B, I want to try and like, you know, improve my skill level, and I use it as an excuse to do so. And then I also love like the adventure that it creates. You know, I get to have time and I get to have exchanges and things with like friends and people that I collaborate with and stuff. So it's a lot of fun. And this is going to be, for me personally, this is going to be one of my it's going to be the best work I've ever made to date. So I'm super excited.
Dude, I can't wait to see it. I mean, this frame alone just gets me stoked.
It probably looks a lot like None, which it's not like None, so I'm just gonna say that. But it's this frame though, it does actually, because it's got that like teal and the ominous clouds and the buildings and stuff. But yeah, so yeah, I probably rebuilt this shot like 20 times over now. So I think it's pretty close. But the problem is like as the project extends, I get a little bit more knowledge every time, and I'm like, let me retweak that one shot, retweak that one. So I'm just looking forward to doing the live action shooting with my DOPs to get it done, so that I can just go and be like, okay, the CGI is done here, and I just move on. But yeah, so this is a shot from my film. Really excited to show you guys as it develops. So, but I'm gonna wait to show it till later. But yeah, I have a little bit of time. I think I have. Let me see. I have 15 more minutes max. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course. Of course, okay. We'll take all the time you'll give us. And actually, that's how much longer we're going to run this Ash 20 discount as well.
Okay,
so
there you go.
Get your kits.
Get y'all kits. Yeah. And again, the kit that I'm using is the Tokyo kit. So if you're curious as to what buildings these are, I'm using the Tokyo kit. And I'm using it because I wanted to kind of catch this and create this kind of interesting feel. So let me do this. Excuse me. Down. Yeah, so again, my workflow is just weird, and it's weird because it's me, and I'm a weird guy, and I like to do weird things psychologically to try and fool myself into doing like, finding different expectations out of things. So, anyways, I take all my photographs, quote unquote, and I click them all, and I go to File, and I export them to just going to save them to my desktop. I'm going to use a subfolder. Let's see. There we go. I'll hit export. And that's just going to export these quickly. They're not that large. They're pretty small files. Yeah, and so on recent client jobs, I've been jamming through tons of stuff. And so this is kind of like my process as of late. It'll change though. My process always changes. So now I have my renders that are much better now. Let me just take one that I think is cool. So this one's kind of cool. So I'll star that. I'm in Bridge right now looking at them. This one's got some cool contrast to it. And I think this one's kind of cool. And that one's cool too. So, but again, I made these I don't know, I've probably got 5 minutes or no, maybe an hour total of time from start to finish, And so I'll take this and I think I'll take this one. So let me bring this into Photoshop. A little Lost Boy drawing. Okay. And then let me just take I'm going to take another one of things. Hopefully it's all right, Toros. I'm using all your stuff. I'm showing your stuff and using it. So hopefully it's okay. Probably not. I'll get in trouble from him, but hopefully he won't be too pissed at me. But yeah, so then I'll just bring in a photograph to kind of start putting in actual details so that I can achieve that reality that I'm after somewhat, So and kind of paint that in there a little bit. And a lot of it's going to be dependent on the references that I have. And I didn't really spend tons of time getting the right references. So, and mostly, for light purposes and stuff. So let's see, adjust this up here and levels and take this down. And yes, and then make the color. So, balance it out. I don't know if there's color in here actually. There's a little blue light information. Okay, cool. So I just hit Command B. I just constantly using hotkeys. Oftentimes I'll make adjustment layers that I can kind of then turn on and off the style or whatever, off the layer. But right now I'm just working really quickly. So I'll make a mask. I'll hit G and I'll just kind of paint in some hits of these are too harsh, but some hits of fog and stuff to kind of fill out some of those spaces. And I'll just move these things around a little bit to try and get some of that light information. And it's still too opaque, so Command U, let's drop this down and up the saturation to catch all that yellow. Command B to balance it out. And yeah, these are all techniques you can learn in Max's class too. So if you're ever curious about it, plugging the shit out of everything here. So,
thank you, Papa Ash.
One big plug. Yeah. But I mean, it's true though. I mean, we wouldn't push it if we didn't feel like it was necessary or usable, So all this stuff is it's usable and it's important to put into your category, your catalog of use, when it comes to making things. So.
Well, and I think these Twitch streams are really we're given we're trying to give new information, but we're also giving kind of sneak peeks or additional information to the actual stuff that we sat down for months, hunkered down and put together and bundled and packaged, right?
Yeah.
I know you spend months on your courses and really break it down. Every minute and every hour of that course is really deliberately designed for a specific purpose and outcome. And these streams are more kind of free form of like, hey, this is kind of me just playing around with this stuff, but the step by step, we do have out there.
Yeah, no, it's I think that's really that's key, and there is a lot of work behind the curtains, that's not really seen. And that's what you pay for, you pay for that unseen stuff so that you can enjoy it when it comes up. So I think my reference, I need a much better reference, but I'm just trying to put in some light detail that's happening subtly, so it cuts the blacks, so it doesn't just look like look like crap. So, and my light sources are all wrong though. So, but I'm just trying to add in a little bit more detail, which is I'm doing a horrible job. So,
you're doing fine, buddy.
It's hard doing this stuff live. Honestly, it's not easy. Mommy.
I always find that as soon as I hit record on my screen, when I'm trying to record myself doing a painting, as soon as I press record, I do horrible work.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, mommy.
Yeah, it's like, can I just not record it? Or like, let me just figure it out and do it without the camera going. And then I'll like go and redo it because I feel like that's the only way that I'll actually do anything worthwhile.
Yeah.
But it means doing it twice,
Yeah, there's that thing like when something's observed, it changes it no matter what. So, and if you really tune in on that, you're gonna be screwed because you're gonna have to deal with like, being observed, and it's literally like in known like science, like if you observe like a neutron or whatever, it by its observation, it changes its like chemical makeup, I guess. It's really weird. I forget the name of it, but there's a whole like study that's gone on about it. It's pretty nuts. So yeah. So just think about how complex it is to do this, and then my brain and stuff too, and how complex the brain is and stuff. So yeah, crazy stuff.
Well, I think it's an important thing to just throw out, like, put out there, because I think maybe a lot of people watching don't really understand or might not have experienced how difficult it is to be on the spot, having to create something that you haven't done before, and having a conversation with us while like a bunch of people are watching.
Yeah, it's kind of like doing this thing, where you're patting your head and doing your stomach thing, It's the same kind of thing. Or playing drums is it's like akin to playing drums a little bit.
Well, I think it speaks to like live sports, where an audience can bring out, though they change things, they can bring out wonderful things in people. And I think watching so many of these streams and watching you guys jump into this, it's like watching a live sporting event, where you see, the environment changes the behavior, and then so many wonderful things can come out of that together because we're part of something larger than just ourselves.
Sure, that's cool. I like that. It's a good observation, sir. Good observation.
Yeah, so us in the Twitch stream, we're a team now. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, let's see. That okay, and the levels. It's gonna start. I'm just trying to adjust these things down a little bit. Yeah, this too. Levels. Turn this down so I get rid of the edge.
Also, because I'm seeing some people chatting in the on the Twitch stream, just since we haven't mentioned it here, but if you do go to KitBash3d, you can enter in your email address and hit enter, and you'll get a free sample kit sent to you. You'll get a couple pieces of the Gothic kit, and then with that, if you create a painting with it and post it on social media with hashtag KB3D contest, you'll be entered into our contest, and on October 17th, we'll announce the winner, and the winner will get a free kit.
Oh, damn. You guys got it all sorted out. This is nice.
You're like the ShamWow guy, Max.
Yeah. Dude,
Keisel,
keep it in your pants, ShamWow guy.
Come on, ShamWow. Keisel says, great work on these kits. They look absolutely brilliant, man. Looking forward to seeing what you crank out with them too, man.
Nice. Get it, Keisel. Get it.
Speaking of Keisel, we got to get you on one of these coming up. We'll talk about that later, but yeah.
Yeah, you should.
Stop hiding. Pressure's coming to you, Keisel.
Yeah, man, you're gonna be in the live hot seat soon.
Keisel that ass.
I think you're gonna do a great job. I don't care what Ash says.
What? Don't trust him. Keisel's bad. No. Yeah, no, it's yeah, you should get in here. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's cool to see what you can make in the time that you have. At the same time, like, it's a testament to how fast things have gone and how fast like things are moving too. Like how quick we can make these things and I don't know, make something that of substance or something that's actually good in a quick amount of time. So yeah, but I think that one's too dramatic. So I'm just bringing this one in, and now I need to desaturate and remove all this yellow from these. So what I'm doing now is I'm just kind of trying to add in real information to my renders so that it breaks up the the CGI aspect of it, which the CGI aspect is just kind of flat and non-dynamic. So oftentimes, like when I would look at people's work that I admire, I'd go like, how the heck did they do it? And a lot of times, almost all the time, it's not just 3D. It's a lot of combination between CGI and 2D, and doing it perfectly, like it's almost like a song and dance. You're like getting them just like perfectly harmoniously put together. So that's one thing I've been really trying to really hone in on when it comes to this kind of stuff, is like balancing these two worlds together and making sure that they work and make sense. And that just takes like time, it just takes time to get there. But what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to break up the flat, like dull quality of the render with some photograph information. So I'm sure, Max, you know about this stuff because this is kind of like what you do. So
yeah, I feel like I'm on the opposite end of how I make the divide though, because I'm trying to get out of 3D as fast as possible and then just like get into Photoshop and start playing in my comfort zone.
Sure. Yeah. I'm trying to be as uncomfortable as possible the entire time.
Someone has a joke for this on Twitch. Someone has the perfect comeback on that. Just please throw them out there.
Oh, what is it? Where's the comeback? Oh, is somebody saying something?
Well, not comeback, just the. Oh man, never mind. Okay.
How dare you? Explain yourself, Max.
I just went to a dirty place of thinking you wanting to be as uncomfortable as possible.
Oh yeah, like putting stuff in my butthole and stuff. All right, cool. Yeah.
I was hoping Twitch would be better with their butt jokes, but they're letting me down right now.
Well, speaking of the chat room, we got Fuck Render in the room.
Oh, whoa!
What up, man? And
speaking of Ash's butthole.
Hey, I'm just trying to let y'all know. Kalina helped us out that Fuck Render is actually a dude. We talked earlier about how badass we thought it'd be if you were a babe, but right on, man. Fuck yeah.
You're still hot. You're still hot to us, all right?
We looked at your work early in the show, and when this thing kicks out, you'll have to check it out, man, because fucking awesome stuff, dude.
You did so well. You're gonna win the grand prize, which is Banks's virginity. All right, there you go. How did you know something horrible is gonna come out of my mouth? We just met. And now you know my rhythm.
We said we were gonna keep secrets here.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's Damn it.
Well, speaking of bashing, I'm so pumped about how
bash that ass.
How you've been able to use all these things and come up with a whole series here so quickly because it's in 3D. You've been able to bounce around from. You've been able to make so many different pieces so fast while we're watching it. It's incredible. Yeah,
and I think that's the trick here, right? So what I'm trying to do, and again, if you're catching us late in the stream, is what I'm trying to do is achieve somewhat of a stylized photographic reality, and I'm using my buddy Toros's photos, which I showed a link earlier. Everything in here is his photos except for this one. This one's like nuts, but all his photos too are amazing as well. But I'm trying to achieve like this kind of mood. Oh, that's what I need actually. I'm gonna totally bastardize all his work. I'm sorry, Toros. Don't be mad at me, okay? Don't be mad at Papa. I'm gonna take these lights and put them in my scene. Totally taking advantage of the situation right here. So I'm gonna drop these under here and remove that because I want to have that. I was like, what the frick is wrong with my stuff? And it's okay. It's because I don't have light information. So I'm just gonna drop these guys down. Yeah. But yeah, that's funny, Max. Yeah, you like to go in here. I think this is something I was talking with Kaisel about for a while. Is like, man, I really want to, just get as far as I can in CGI, so I just do minimal stuff in post, So that's been one of my goals as of late, is to try and get as far along as possible, so that I don't have to do like, a bunch of cleanup and stuff. I hate having to do cleanup all the time.
Yeah,
I don't know. I hate it.
If I had some time where I wasn't trying to crank out like 2 to 3 paintings a week, like matte paintings a week, like to just hunker down and get better at my 3D game so that it was more comfortable when I was actually in a production schedule, I'd probably do the same thing. But I feel like right now is the time where I'm like, man, I can't really add new things to my toolbox right now. I need to just be cranking.
Yeah.
But hopefully soon get to dedicate that time and get more comfortable with this stuff.
Through the festival, so many people have talked about that, whether they're trying to learn Octane render for the first time or they're trying to jump into 3D. I think it's so cool to see so many artists at such a professional level constantly seeking ways to improve while they're currently having a very vigorous working schedule. I mean, Ash, you're a perfect example of that.
Yeah, you never stop.
You look lazy.
Oh, thanks, guys. You never stop. It's like you're constantly learning and you're constantly trying to improve your game so you can be the best that you can. I mean, I know that sounds really hokey, and it probably is to some people that are just assholes, but it's not. It's the truth. It's the truth, people. Being truthful. And it's all about putting that time in, putting that work in, and really, honing your craft and being the best that you can be.
And your constant line of production. I mean, you have so many different outlets between your movie career and Learn Squared and your podcast, and you're cranking out work and putting out content everywhere. You're so adamant to be. Do you find, would you call yourself a performance junkie?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't. I just like to work, and I live for that one feeling where you finish the piece and you're like, oh, that's awesome, or you just feel like gratified or something, like you achieve a certain type of reality or something that you really, you're happy with or something. Like I live for that. That's, to me, is like those feelings and those emotions, you get those. It's just like, for me, that's really where it's at, So and that changes and shifts, So yeah.
Do you ever feel do you ever get those moments of feeling overwhelmed? Like, do you ever feel like, oh shit, maybe I've taken on too much?
Yeah, all the time, every day probably. So.
And yeah. How do you cope with that? What do you do to like get yourself over those feelings or that anxiety?
There's a saying that I use, and if you've been following me, like people have been following what I'm doing, it's like I use a saying, and I can't remember what book I got it from, but one of the self-help books that I read, which is basically, it just says, like, you just say, like, just for now, and you're like, okay, well, just for now, I'm going to deal with this, and then what you take is that, because what you're feeling is the enormity of everything at once, and you're like, damn, you get inundated, and it's so easy. Like, let's say you're watching the stream right now and you're starting out, like, I'm ahead of you, and you're looking at me going like, when I look at an artist and I go like Otomo, for example, like it gives me like creative anxiety almost. I'm like, dude, how the hell am I going to even compete with this? But what you do is you just go like, well, just for now, I'm going to just like work on this little bit here, and I'm just going to do this one little thing here. And as you go through it, if you just say just for now and you just kind of crank through it, you're going to eventually get yourself to a good place where you're going to be able to like really take those little moments of just for now, and they all add up to being cool. So that's kind of one of my, I guess, little secrets, I guess. I don't know if you'd call that secret, but yeah.
That's awesome. One of the things for me, it's something that you've said that I've quoted several times from you, that I really love this way of thinking is, I don't know where you said it or when you said it, or if you stole it from someone else. But you said, I treat my life like I'm an Olympic athlete and art is my sport, right? And it's that idea of, every part of your life kind of, if you're an Olympic athlete, everything needs to kind of revolve around that task. By doing that.
And Max, I think we just lost Ash's feed.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I know it. He's out. Oh, here he comes back.
I'm back.
Ash, can you hear us? Bangarang.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, Max, you were saying an Olympic.
Well, Ash, we lost your screen though, so.
Yeah, I'll share my screen.
And your beautiful face.
Yeah, I'm almost back, and then I have to go. I must go. All
Cool.
good things must come to an end eventually.
We'll wrap this thing up. All I was saying was I like that quote and that idea of like treating your art life as if you were an Olympic athlete and kind of making the other things in your life support that.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the approach you need to have in this kind of day and age, I guess, of creating. You need to have that mentality of treating yourself like an Olympic athlete. I grew up so many times hearing the stupid phrase like, "Oh, artists, starving artists." It's such bullshit, and it's like oftentimes an excuse that people make to like not be the best that they possibly can. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, for me, I'm fascinated by somebody that decides to run around in a circle really fast. I mean, that's crazy. What a weird life, and they make a profession. Same with us. We're just sitting here pushing pixels until we feel less or more emotionally happy, and so. You break it down and go like, well, how can I be the best at this? And then if you want to study it properly, you just study like Olympic athletes, or you study triathlons or triathletes or whatever, like all these kind of things. You put that into art. It's like, well, then what does a true athlete do? Well, they train rigorously. Well, how do they do so? Well, they hire a trainer, or they like are educated, or they have a mentor or something, or they have a team, or they do it by themselves, but it takes longer and stuff too. So I think jiu-jitsu and all that stuff also adds to it. So yeah. But here's my final image. I made it while talking, and it's like really hard to do that. But I mean, this stuff is quick to do, and I gotta give full credit to my friend Toros. I totally ripped off and smashed all his photos together. I'm sorry, dude. I love you, buddy. I apologize if you're pissed at me. Please don't be mad at me. But no, yeah, here it's all. I mean, I hope that this kind of looks like a photo. It's still stylized. I would go into it way further, obviously. And if I wanted to go and paint go in crazy and really start to do the layers and all that stuff, like what Max was saying, there's definitely ways of doing that. And I could go and paint all the details and stuff. You can go crazy with that kind of technique, or I can go and like this could become very Blade Runner-esque, and by tinting everything and making things all like blue and stuff. So what I'm getting at here is the sky's the limit, guys. Like literally, there's never been a better time to want to be an athlete in art. and to want to be the best that you can, and to really take this stuff and to be the best, the best possible creative that you can be, And so, yeah.
To stick with the athlete analogy, I think hell is comparing yourself to other people, and if we can stick to like the John Wooden ideal of what it means to be an athlete is to be the best we can be, and that success is determined upon did we become the best we were capable of becoming, and that self-satisfaction of achieving that is the goal, not to be compared to Ash Thorp or compared to anyone in the festival here, or compared to anyone you see on any whatever screen you're looking at. It's the goal is, can we be inch by inch better than we were yesterday, better than the person we were yesterday, the artist or the athlete, whatever it is we're trying to achieve.
That's great advice. I agree. And I think that's a good advice to also leave off with, because like, yeah, you don't want to get destroyed by it if like you're not as good as me or Max or Kim Jung-ji or whatever your inspiration is. Honestly, it's just seat time. That's all the difference is, like to use jiu-jitsu, for example, like one of my coaches said, like, in jiu-jitsu, it's all about the miles. It's all about the amount of time that you sit. And like, in jiu-jitsu, like the best car is like the jalopy, like the piece of crap car that's got like 400,000 miles, because the more mat time or seat time that you get, the better you get, because we're creatures of habit and we only learn from doing things repetitively. So if you're not necessarily at the level you want to be, it's just because you haven't put the time in. And it's not about just putting time in, because that's also deceiving. You got to put the right time in, when and how you're going to do it, and like learning from the right sources and stuff. So oftentimes I feel like I get those imposter syndromes or the hack syndrome, because like I'm literally just putting pieces of things together just to make my work. I don't know everything. I just know a couple little things here and there. And I feel like such an idiot. I'll go to like one of my friends who probably thinks that I know all these things. And I'm like, hey, how do you turn that one object transparent or something like you know, the noobiest of noob things, you know. So what I'm saying is like you're always going to be humbled by the process of learning, and you should be. And there's amazing resources like this out here and communities to remind you that it's okay if you are, and to enjoy the process. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Hopefully you guys like this image. I don't know. I guess it looks pretty cool. It's moody.
It looks awesome. I love the moodiness of it, and I feel like that's just such a good note to end on. I feel like we shouldn't say anything else
Cool.
other than check out Learn Squared and go to KitBash3d.com.
Yeah, those true resources, you know. There you go. There you guys go.
Yeah, man. Love watching your process here, Ash. Love seeing how many different flavors you bash together to make something.
Thank you for having me.
We could talk. I'd be dying to talk to you more and more about your personal process and how do you maintain peak performance and things like that. Maybe we'll get another chance to do this again.
Yeah. Just
But
let me know.
in the meantime, thank you everyone so much. Thank you on the Twitch stream. This is it. This is the final act of the KitBash3d Festival presented by Learn Squared. We could not be more grateful to have gotten to share this platform with you and to engage with all the audience and to be part of what you guys have built so beautifully here. And we're so excited to launch, and we want to be a resource to all of you out there. So at any point, reach out to us. You can hit us on social media, KitBash3d on all the Insta, Tweet, Face platforms. Reach out to you can reach out to Max or I personally, Ash as well. Get involved. Jump on KitBash3d.com. Go down, get your own sample kit, and get in the KitBash3d contest. Lots of awesome work coming out, and you have 2 weeks from yesterday when all the artists from the KitBash3d Festival will be talking about the work and voting on it, and the winner will take their pick of a kit. Ash Thorp, thanks so much, man.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me. Amazing. And thank you for the resource that you guys have. And I'm wishing the best of luck to whoever wins the epic challenge. And, you know, guys, get in here, participate, have fun. This is a lot of fun, endless amounts of fun. So, yeah, enjoy it. And big thank yous to Max and Banks for putting this together for you guys. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of things behind the curtain. So, a little bam, bam. Yeah.
Much love.
Digital high fives. So, yeah. You know, there's so many other reasons to do bad things or good things, but you guys are doing great. So thanks for doing that. So
man, thanks a lot.
Keep cranking. Yeah, you're welcome.
Well,
guys.
We'll leave the coupon code up for a little bit longer. It's all caps Ash20. Get your gear.
Yeah, get your gear. Get out there. Make some awesome stuff. Ash20. All caps and then 20. There you go.
Bangarang.
Awesome.
KitBash3d Festival out.
Thank you guys so much.
Peace out, everybody. Peace.